Good evening, at least it's evening here in Germany, and well, welcome to our third session where we'll be coloring our comic character, which we've penciled and inked in the last two sessions. Okay, let's have a look at the drawing, and we need to set up Procreate or whatever drawing program you use to allow for directable coloring. So let's go. Here we are. So this is about the state of the drawing as we left off last time. And as you see, I made some minor corrections around the iris and the silhouette of the character, but I think that is easily recognized by you. So now, as always, we will have a little question and answer session at the end of the stream. So if you got any question, just put it into the chat box and I'll answer them at the end of the drawing, because I can't, well, it's a bit difficult to look at the drawing board and the surface and at the same time being aware of any chat message coming in. Okay, so, all right. Now, let's set up the first coloring layer. Now, as we see, we've got the outlines defined, so it should be rather easy to get the character. Oh, I've seen there's one minor thing I need to. One minor thing I'd like to correct up front. So here, the line below this border isn't really as parallel to the edges as I wished for, so I just remove it like that, and then with the ink tool selected, I'll go for it, and oh, the mirroring is active. That I've got to correct for. So come here, drawing assist will be deactivated, and now we'll add a horizontal line to close the area of the skin and the upper body, and just having the shoulders and the face up there. Just a minor correction. So, and soon we'll be ready for coloring. So something like that. Okay, that should work like that. Now let's set up the actual coloring layer, which I would place below the current layer with the inking. So now for that, I need an outline of the inked character, and therefore I would duplicate this layer pair. So now we've got the layer with the inking in two different versions, and we'll collapse this one in the duplicates, unlock over here, and then we need to say merge mask. So now we've got the outline in this layer, and we can easily select it with the selection device over here. And now I'm just selecting the I'm selecting the outer part, this one, and then the third button from the left, down there in the bar at the bottom of the screen, you see the invert, and I'll select that. So now I've got the area that the character is taking selected, and I will use this to create the background or the deepest layer of the coloring. My method is the following: that I'll usually, when drawing characters or human figures, that I'm using a red layer, and then I'm using clip layers on top of that. So for one, the area we are now selecting and filling will, no, not like that, will be will define all the pixels that are allowed to be colored, and the layer right above it will be somewhat more skin colored, and then I can vary the opacity of the skin colored layer, and the red will shine through. So it will look like there's some more blood flow in certain areas of the skin, for example, around the nose or the ears or the cheeks. Just a very tiny percentage, and so it will look a bit more lifelike. So, alright, now I've got this layer, I can delete the auxiliary layer that I created, and now I will put the color layer below the inking. So and then I can also lock the mask, so I won't accidentally change or modify the mask. And with the new color layer selected, I'm going to say, okay, this will be a clipping mask. Wrong. The next will be clipped, and this is the mask. So there's another layer on top of it. There I will work with the skin color, and I'm saying, okay, use a clipping mask the layer below. So the red layer is now our clipping mask, and just like I did with the inking, I'm setting up the layer 5, which will now or soon contain the skin color, to be just a one color layer like we know them from Clip Studio Paint. So now I'm just looking for a skin tone, something like that. So, doesn't have to be perfect, because with this approach I'll be able to change the color easily afterwards. And I'll let the whole character be colored with this, though the hair and certain items, oh, I forgot the hair device over there, that will be corrected in between the streams. And now this looks like this with a layer setup. And when I ask or when I add the mask, right, where do we, there it is. And now I can work with an eraser to get some areas of the skin tone to be a bit more, well, a reddish. First up, I might reduce the overall transparency or opacity of the layer to 95, so a bit of the red is shining through, and maybe some features we will be drawing on the base color layer will shine through when we choose that this will be useful in the future. And then, where are we there? Maybe we should take a bit lighter skin. So it's a gothic character, so, or gothic horror character, so maybe we want her to be a bit more pale for the design fitting the story, or the typical gothic horror story, something like that. Okay, now the setup is done. Let's go to full drawing mode. And now I'm choosing the eraser, and I will be using something like texture over here, something slightly textured over there. I hope this, oh okay, that is too large. And the opacity can be reduced. Okay, we need to reduce the scaling of the texture. That is much too big. The grain scale, something like that. And we need to edit the texture itself, I think. Let's look for something a bit more looking like pores on skin. Well, it won't be perfect, there's no real skin texture in here, but I think we can at least get near the idea with, well, leather. Leather is not quite what I wanted. Okay, nice idea, but won't work. Let's take this one. Done. Okay, I guess I'll need to improve on this a bit, and the texture itself could. Well, no, let's try it with this. How does it look like? Okay, it looks a bit sick right now. Reduce that. We need to reduce the opacity, and we could maybe have the pencil itself reduced. So something like that. Looking a bit like blood flow below the area. And the ears as well. So I'm drawing over the left ear, something like that. A bit the cheeks. And of course we can refine all this with the smudge tool in the future. And then there's of course the skin around the mouth and the lips, and which is much more red or reddish. Let's reduce it a bit in opacity and the size. So now I'm reducing the skin tone over here, so the red shines through from the base layer, and something like that. Only rough. No further detail. I've got to stop myself from putting in too much detail in the start or in the beginning, because that will be, or might be, obsolete later on. Something like that. So the frontal is still looking a bit, well, not that healthy. And I deactivated the mirroring, so I got to redraw it for the right side as well. It just costs us some seconds, and somewhere here. Now the smudge tool, or how's that? Well, we need to, or we can already smoothen the structure a bit. Let's smooth the structure. The texture I put here was a bit too much, I guess. I don't have to So now let's have black for the pencil. What's up here? Lock this one. Forgot to lock the layer itself. So let's get back. This should be black. Y is okay. Yeah. Let's have it in white. Why are we producing such strange things here? Alright, then let's blacken the eraser. Eraser. Where is it? There it is. And it still produces new pixels, while we actually wanted to remove the reddish tone over here. And that's not what I want. I need, well, what is stuff like? Why and why does here? I wanted the ink over here, so that is wrong. Take the black and now add to the masking. Whew. Why is he doing that? That is not what we wanted. Strange. So this one is alright. If we put white over it, then it should remove. Okay, this is weird. That's obviously a bug. It shouldn't look like that. That is wrong. Okay, now get a flat marker. Oh, the flat marker is doing the job. All right, so maybe it's my the inking setup of the pencil, of the inking tool. Well, okay. So get here. Now this is still a bit too much. We need to reduce this a bit, otherwise it looks rather silly. Still a bit too much, but still okay. I mean, it's a comic character, so maybe we can live with this for a while. The left ear and the right ear, seen from our perspective. Of course, it's her. For her, it's vice versa. So, okay, with the cheeks a bit smoother with the color over there. All right. Okay, maybe a bit too much. We see. Okay, and I still think the color, the skin color is too saturated. We need to have this more in a bit paler still, even more. Could work. Maybe when we start the contrasts, or when we see the contrast with the hair, with the dark hair, this will look rather fitting for the genre. Okay, something like that. We can later tune it down a bit more. Now let's take a look at the side view. So again, here around the cheeks, add some. The structure is still coming through. This is not quite what I wanted, but anyway, we can. I'll fix this with the smudge tool later on. I'm usually working, or I've been working for a very long time with Clip Studio Paint, and I'm still used to the tools over there, mixing it up with the behavior of the tools in Procreate. However, we can get around the problem with using the smudge tool over there, the finger tool, or however the official name is. What I'm doing right now is painting really only the spot color, as though you had a miniature, a little sculpture, and you were using brushes and color to actually color the little figurine. The idea is to really separate the spot color from the color values that are generated or that will be generated once the light is defined or the lighting is defined. So I've got them separated, and then I'll be able later to change the lighting independent from the spot color that I'm defining right here, because the real color on the surface of the object, or in this case of the character, won't change when the light changes, but the result of the color, or the perceived color, will change dramatically depending upon the light source. For example, if you've got a completely a chemical light source that only emits one or two certain wavelengths, and your lighting a surface with it, and for example the emitted light will be yellow, then nothing else can be reflected but yellow. But that doesn't mean that the object itself, the properties of the object itself or the character change. So these are the properties, the color properties and the texture of the character itself that I'm changing right here, or that I'm defining right here. Now, yeah, what's still missing is the eyes. Now, don't get frightened, I'll make them red as well, but this will change, or I'll change it later with layers that will be put on top of that. My goal here is only to get the eyelids sort of pink or reddish up here. So this area is crucial. I'll just take the whole area because, well, in principle, if the eye would be removed, there would be red skin somewhere behind that, or flesh. Okay, of course we don't do that, though it's a horror character or story character. What will be done is, so we got to smooth this with the finger tool over here, and okay, get the structure out there. It's a bit too much. Yep, right. I think I need a preset for these structures over here. I've got a really large library in Clip Studio Paint, but unfortunately not yet moved this to Procreate. It's a little project for the next vacation, or some days off that I might take at the end of the year. So yeah, okay, that's not quite what I wanted. That's better. Okay, so now we have the that's all right, I think. Of course, you could also argue that the lower parts, the shoulders, might also be a bit. There might be a bit more blood flow. We could vary that, and we could add some red in the area around the eyes, only slightly over here. Not quite. So let's do it that way, and I'll correct that with the finger tool in a minute, just like that. Over here. I remember when you see in movies or something like that, when there are zombies, you know, this area around the eyes and the nose are usually black or darker. That is because these areas, there's soft tissue around, and this tissue, when it rots, it gets dark, and if it doesn't rot, then it might still look a bit more reddish, because there isn't the bone structure isn't directly below it. Same reason for the eye, for the nose, for the tip of the nose. So, all right. Okay, something like that. I could still remove it a bit more, I think. So this only slightly. Okay, somewhat like that. Now, all right. So the basic skin color, I'll just leave it like that. And now let's have the eyes. Have a look at the eyes now. Okay, same idea over here. I'll go there, say use a clipping mask, and now it will still use the first mask, or the first layer with color, the red one. And we are using some very, very, very bright red tone for the color of the eyeballs. So though that's not perfect white, I would generally advise against using absolute color values like 255, 255, 255 for white, and real 0 for black, except for the inking maybe, and because you never know when you might still want to go deeper, at least in the beginning of the drawing. So okay, now here is the layer itself, the color that will be put into the eyeballs, and now we are adding a mask, and we are inverting the mask. So okay, and now I can go in there and define the area of the eyeball with the color I just put into the area, and then we will just see. I really had the hope that this would be automatically filled. Let's go for it. Maybe I just missed the closing gap. No, doesn't. This doesn't work in masks. Interesting. Okay, lock this one. Again, no, doesn't. Okay, so within the mask, I've got to fill it manually. It's all right. We can do this. Won't take too long. So there we are. Or otherwise, we would have to work with a selection, something in that way. Good. Now I don't need the texture anymore for the eraser, so I'll use a flat marker, and I can get rid of these little mistakes I made over here. And no, these are actual mistakes. These are not little birds. And by far, I've got not enough curly hair to impersonate Bob Ross. If I had, I would, but you know, hair anyway, who needs it? Characters, yeah, okay, but apart from that, for any practical reason, there's no need for hair. Good. All right, now we've got the color of the eyeball, and I'll go ahead. I'll just duplicate this layer, and I will reuse it for the color of the iris. I might change the names of the layers later on, and then we need to unlock this one and say, okay, what color should there be? I would go for, well, since it's gothic, we are aiming for a gothic horror story. I'd go for a darker brownish style, something dark like that, maybe. Yeah, sort of. Maybe a bit more in that direction. Yeah, that could work. All right, and now let's clear the mask, invert the mask, and lock the actual color layer. And we can lock the eyeball layer. And now I'm defining the iris. Irises is we've got two. If you count the side view, we have three, but the two of them are identical, though it still adds some work on our part. So let's correct this down there. So we just have it like that. We could also have used the selection tool for this one. Now let's go to the side view. Maybe decrease the size of the pen, or the two, smaller one. So that's good. Okay. Remember, the color can always be changed afterwards, which makes color composition rather easy later on. Okay, now we've got the color in here. We may need to add some to refine our inking later on. But for now, I think we can leave it like that. Okay, now the color of the hair. This is going to be a bit more difficult. I'll take a darker gray, I guess. Let's have a copy of the current layer. Copy. I mean a duplicate. Come on. No, let's duplicate it. There we go. And now I'll unlock this one. And now for the color of the hair, we will go somewhere like here, maybe. Well, the same hue like the eyes. So, but darker. And of course I need to. I don't need to. It's already unlocked. So let's cancel. What's the problem? That isn't locked. So. Okay, multiple layers selected. No, just this one. Not the layer itself, not the mask. So that's nonsense. Do we have another bug? Might be. Yeah, okay, now it worked. This is weird. Alright, now. We've got the color for the hair, but the mask is wrong, so we just go and clear it and invert it. Now I can add a lock down there, a lock here, and we can work in the mask of this layer. And I would be all for it if we could just use another masking feature or selection feature. Duplicate this one and unlock, merge mask, and now I will be selecting this area here and this area here, and now that we've got this selection, we can deactivate the auxiliary layer over there. And we can just go into our mask and say clear. Now that's about the area of the hair. And we still have to fix some minor issues, but overall doesn't look too bad. This is strange, huh? Do you see this? Once I just this is strange behavior of Procreate. Once I'm putting the when I put the pen on the iPad, the rendering changes in areas that aren't even remotely touched by the pen. This is strange. Okay. Buggy. Well, I won't be. I don't want to be too picky. Procreate is a very good program. Though some things are a bit, well, strange, like this one here. Okay. Two. All right. Let's go there. This one. Would be nice to have an extend feature to the selection. There is a feather. Maybe there's an extension hiding somewhere deep within the GUI, the graphical user interface. But I would have yet to encounter it and try it out. Haven't seen it yet. All right. Now there is some minor issues over here. This can be corrected. So also this part over here. Okay. Well, that isn't dandruff. That is just Procreate not filling all the spaces that I would have liked it to fill. Okay, let's go there. And if you're still listening, if you got any questions, just put it into the chat box. So, something like that. I'll fix the details later on. That would be boring, I guess. Though some of them, yeah, like this maybe, and this one, pretty major one. Ah, come on. Something like that. Okay. Good. So now spot color is almost done. Now we still need the eyebrows over there. So let's return to our auxiliary layer over here. These two I'd like to have. And you see down there, there's a feather, but that just, well, it's just not what we need. An expand would be nice. Maybe somewhere here, no? Not really. Okay, anyway. This way and this. And now I will return to the hair layer over there, to the mask. And I will be... This was the color we needed. And I didn't. No, that's nonsense. Of course, I wanted to fill it with white, for we are working in a mask. And because we are working in the mask layer, putting white into the areas makes the masked layer, which contains the brown, visible over here. And we still got to correct some minor issues. Yeah, see this? Huh? All right. For the future sessions, I think I will also increase the, or for future session series, I will also increase the resolution of the initial initial drawing. Come on, give me that one. So that should be easier. Why doesn't? That is so weird. See, I switched to ink and it does. This is ridiculous. Okay, how do we do this? Take this one. So adjust the flat marker. Something about the rendering that doesn't really work in the mask with the tool, with the inking tool. That's strange. Okay, something like that. Yeah, now we could decide if the coloring of the skin tone, it looks a bit gray. So let's adjust our the skin tone right here, and let's go for another feature. Pull that up a bit over here, just like that, and then unlock it. Yeah, right. So yeah, that we might even reduce it a bit further. No. Maybe we leave it like that and then just reduce the saturation in some areas. Yeah, maybe that way. Okay. So that is the basic coloring done so far for this character. Well, I've got to do some corrections in between the session to, just before we get the next session with the lighting. But so far, I think this worked out well. Okay, there are no questions in the chat box, so I'll just say thank you for staying here and for your attention. and maybe we'll see each other then, well, tomorrow or the day after that. Okay, thanks a lot. See you. Bye.